Global Info Analytics CEO at the latest post be ababontin as our post ebusuya a shocky one of the political parties nibia enye asem keto akra Mussa Dankwa aha gossip politics TV so unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so be any updates be dropping on wonso wonsa ebitumi akabi ebusuya Mussa Dankwa a drop latest poll na sa polisi ya ebusuya wa drop yi or they are shaky and as or they are shocking NPP amanyoko na sisi ano NPP amanyoko no ewo Ghana ha de ebusuya part nagu because sisi ano most of the Ghanaian youth no almost 40 something a year peoples akwa join the NDC 40 something percent. And I said 40% plus akwa join the NDC. Ama you see ano NPP numbers so ate. Abusuya numbers ne so ate. Ama even NPP almost stronghold a Ashanti region krano. Abusuya sisi ano after say Mussa Dankwa drop a post no report no. Abusuya Oko Ashanti region I say ubehu a floating voter no. At first na almost be 2% and I say 3%. Abusuya but right now Oko Ashanti region floating voters are more Ashanti region abusuya sisi ano omo edru 17% 17% no a high possibility omo de join the NDC no a high and sisi ano Oko Ashanti region abusuya yense mo mremo yenko na yenkonkuti Mussa Dankwa ni posa or the ebetu ya unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so there be any updates be ebe dropping on so onsa ebetumi akabi na Mussa Dankwa latest post a shocking NPP for me yenko na yenkonkuti ensema Mussa Dankwa Global Info Analytics or the betu ya medamase.
The latest Global Info Analytics poll for the first quarter of 2026. The survey conducted between March 5 and March 23, 2026 shows a notable shift in party affiliations compared to findings from December 2025. Now, according to the findings, support for the NDC rose from 41% to 45% within the period, while the NPP saw a slight decline from 26 to 25%. The data reveals a significant advantage for the NDC in key swing regions, Greater Accra, Central, and Western region, widely regarded as decisive in national elections. Global Info Analytics says a full report of the March 2026 polls will be released on March 25, offering deeper insights into voter sentiment ahead of Ghana's next electoral cycle. Mussa Dankwa is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Let's go to him for a quick chat in relation to this particular subject matter and what it could mean for both parties as to this latest poll surveying the support of the political parties. Mr. Dankwa, I appreciate you joining us this afternoon. How has voter affiliation shifted between the NDC and the NPP between December and March? We're seeing an increase in support base for the NDC and a slight decline for the NPP as well. What could be contributing to this?
Thank you very much for having me. As to what is contributing in terms of reasons, I can't really tell. I don't know. But what we've seen is that about 1% of people who left or declined in NPP went to the NDC. And also among the floating voters, that number has declined to 17%, meaning that though they were floating at a point in time, they have now shifted towards NDC. And those who said they won't tell us their party also declined by 1%, and they have also joined the NDC folks. So all the losses we saw from floating voters not disclosing an MPP went to NDC over the period.
Now, we see a regional tilt as well for the NDC in terms of the swing regions. Yes, I hear you on the fact that we do not know why they are doing that, but how significant is that in terms of the swing regions continuing to maintain that support base down from December of 2024?
Look, the swing regions normally provide a very decisive path to victory. And usually, you have to fight for every vote in the swing region. So normally, it is much tighter there than elsewhere. What we have seen as a phenomenon, even from the last election, is that the NDC was doing far better in the swing regions than across the country. And that is still repeating here. If you look at the party affiliation nationally, NDC is 45%, but in the swing regions, they are 53%. NPP is 25% nationally and 24% across the swing regions. This is critical because you need the mass base to win an election. And if NDC is doing this well in the swing regions, it's put them at a very huge advantage in the future elections.
A part of the report which interests me is the Akan regions and what appears to be that continuous, I don't want to call it dominance, but significant footprint of the NDC there. Again, I understand you saying we don't know the whys, but having seen the trajectory as to what contributed to their footprint increasing, would you say there's been a doubling up in terms of the work resulting in us continuing to see this trend, or more to do with the declining tide of the NPP in those areas?
I think if you watch the last election, it pretty much reflects what we are seeing in the poll. The last election, people went and cast their vote without being party affiliates. Now we've seen them move from party A to party B, and I think NDC is enjoying that support. Traditionally, the Akan bloc has been the MPP's bedrock. At the moment, it appears to be in disarray, with NDC with 41% and MPP 26%. If MPP needs to rebuild its base or needs to work, it must start from the Akan bloc. At the moment, doesn't look pretty at all.
But while we look at all of this, there are those who say that, well, it's been all good for the NDC up until this point. Now we're seeing a major economic downturn as a result of the ongoing conflict. Fuel prices are already on the up. There are concerns that are being raised across board about procurement and certain government actions that will begin to see the support chip away. Do you agree?
We are here to measure. Every 90 days we are here. So whatever transpired between now and 90 days, whether in terms of fuel price adjustment or the hardship that we may endure down the line, and whatever scandals that may break out, we will be there to measure it. At the moment, the sentiment is not reflecting in the current polls.
For the NPP, who have seen what is a continuous decline in terms of the support base, there is a cause for concern, but how do they remedy this?
They need to find answers to the question why. I don't have the answer to the question why, but there is clear indication that something is not right, especially in their backyard. In the Ashanti region, it appears to be worse for MPP. At the moment, only 34% of them say they are openly MPP. NDC is 30% in the Ashanti region. And a whopping 23% say they are floating voters. We have never seen such high number of people saying they are floating in Ashanti region. At the moment, nationally, there are more floating voters in Ashanti region than Western and Central together. That is worrying for MPP. Again, in their Eastern region, where they are strong at, MPP is now minority in the Eastern region. NDC has 41% party affiliation, MPP 29.
Right. Means people are struggling to want to identify with the party, and this base, I haven't gone through into the details. Is it a lot more of the younger generation who are failing to want to identify openly with the party?
It is across board. If you look at the people who are 18 to 24 years, 44% of them say they are now NDC. MPP is 22%. Those between 25 and 34, it is 50% for NDC and 20% for MPP, the Gen Zs. 35 to 44, NDC is 43%, MPP 25. 45 to 54, NDC 40, MPP 32. 55 to 64, MPP 34, NDC 40. Above 65, NDC 45, MPP 31. What we have seen is that the younger the population, the lower or the less support they have for MPP, and the older the population, the more support they have for MPP. So MPP looks to be aging in terms of their voting demography, whereas NDC is younger in terms of demography of people who say they are NDC.
Mr. Dankwa, I appreciate you speaking to us, and we'll be here again. We'll have a conversation pretty soon after the next round of polling, but we appreciate you and the work that you do. That's Mussa Dankwa, is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, speaking to us this afternoon. Now, away from that, the Director General of the National Communications Authority, Reverend Edmond Yurin-Chifianko, has justified the upcoming civil registration exercise, revealing that an audit of existing data uncovered significant inconsistencies. He explained that the decision to proceed with the registration was informed by a preliminary assessment of the database, which exposed gaps in the identity verification. Reverend Edmond Yurin spoke with Kemeni Amano on TV3's Hot Issues.
We are saying that we are not convinced that there's a single source of truth for the IDs in there, for the reasons that I earlier outlined.
No, but that's a fair question you ask me, right? And my response to that will be, if you do you consider the 81% in facial match a success?
I wouldn't want to approach it that way.
Okay.
It's not a function of success or not. It's about.
But we want to know if the data performs.
No, it's the integrity of the database.
Okay.
So you are trying to mitigate risk, okay, of relying on data that is not. The last time when it was done, the former minister that you referenced cited a case where even her own photo, okay, or her own name had been used to register a SIM. That is not hers, okay, which convinced her that we had to cure this. And I'm telling you that in assessing this one, we took a sample, not the entire, it wasn't a census, it was a sample. And we found that
randomly selected sample gave you facial match of 81%. Yeah. You are telling us that was not success, and it tells you that the data.
See,
hang on. That the data you collected has no integrity.
You see, I haven't said I'm an engineer. I don't speak in those terms. Okay, I'm just saying that we have found defects.
Okay.
If you are comfortable that, assuming, I mean, like I said, if we expand the sample size, it could either shrink or expand. I mean, we could end up with 70-30. If you are comfortable that you are not sure about 30% of data, it's okay. If you are comfortable. So I'm saying it's not a function of, it's not a school exam.
No, I don't think it's a matter of my comfort. It's a matter of why we think that instead of building on what we have already, we should start afresh. And the Ghanaian people are trying to understand that.
And I'm explaining to you that. So there are questions that we are answering. We answered question 1.
Right.
Even the last time, there was a question 2 that we didn't answer.
Correct.
And as a result, we have things in the database that we are uncertain of. Okay.
To what extent is the current data flawed?
I've identified the flaws that are in there.
I understand what you're saying.
Number one,
you tell us we have about 40 million active SIMs in our system. You took a sample of 2.3 million.
Yeah. And remember, it's a very small sample.
I absolutely understand. So to what extent do you tell us that that data is flawed to the extent that we need to do the exercise properly and all over again?
I don't know what answer you want, because I've explained to you that the reason I asked for that sampling is because if you want to do an exhaustive test, you have to commit more resources. So this was a simple test just to know. I don't want to just launch into a process without having to assess that what are there issues with this one or not. And I found that there are issues. I couldn't answer the question that every registration that we have was presented by the people that actually did it, because that verification did not happen.
The question the Ghanaian people are also asking is that, is the problem so big enough that we couldn't have worked within the score of 81% and the remaining error-ridden ones?
Don't use the word score again. Okay.
Oh, I shouldn't?
No, if you design an engineering system, you would want a certain threshold. Okay. When we design a network, we have availability levels. We design with numbers of 99%. I mean, because you see, we are talking about millions of numbers. Okay, 1% is a big number. Okay, 1% is a big number.
Right.
So, and remember, the ultimate objective is to have a database that we can rely on, especially for law enforcement, for our common security. The more there are fraud cases that cannot be solved, the less confidence people have in using digital systems. And remember, we are gradually moving into an environment where, digital is going to be our life. So this is at the core of building confidence in systems that we all use. And because I've had cases, and sometimes you can't find the people, even though the numbers were supposedly to be registered. We have also a problem of the non-classification of corporate numbers. Okay, we were not able to tell that, this number was registered as a corporate number, because even under that, in the central register, because remember, the MNOs maintain their data, and then there's a central register. These are all things that we want to cure. Another thing that we are introducing that wasn't there before, that even if we kept, we didn't intend to replace it, it meant everybody still had to do something, is the introduction of the primary number for people to confirm. Previously, we had an issue of agents and things using other people's IDs to register numbers without their knowledge.
Right.
There has even been a recent court judgment on this issue, because somebody took an operator and the NCA to court that their privacy was breached because their ID was used to register. And I'm saying, if the liveliness check was not carried out, the person has their photo. And those cases happened. So we can't tell which ones in the current register are those cases. And then now what we want to do is that so you register one number. That's the first time you bring your ID for registration. If it's one number, that will become your default primary number.
Okay.
Any other number that will be registered with that ID, an OTP will be sent to that primary number for you to confirm that this ID, you permit this ID to be used for that registration. You get me?
Absolutely. So is there not a system that already deals with that currently? The short code where you can put in your details?
So that details. One is after the fact.
After the fact.
That one, you can only check what has already been registered with that ID.
And we'll bring you some more stories, because Ghana is joining the world to observe